special guest of my own to bring to the show.
Nice.
I'd like y'all to meet Timmy.
Gotta figure something out here.
You gotta have Timmy. Timmy is my platoon mascot.
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Or if you'd prefer, I can bring Groot into the mix. He's always willing to come to the podcasts.
Don't worry, Russell Wilson will be in it. I'm going to the.
Oh, you're wearing that crap?
Yeah.
There you go.
Man.
My crap's still better than your crap.
Why's your whole background blurred? Were you afraid to show what's on your walls?
No. Try to figure out.
I have robotics.
How do I change that? There we go.
I have
I have my Badir, my Badirs.
Yeah.
She-Hawk.
My Badirs up there.
My Buckeye.
I got my college degree up there and my OSM. Does that matter? Probably not.
Holy shit! Try to figure
Hey,
everything
does
out.
anybody remember this?
Oh, it's clear now. It's clear now.
Did anybody remember this? I remember.
No, I don't remember that.
Welcome
Never
to
Maddie.
the Schmidtcast, and today we have Rowan,
I never
my
saw it.
co-host, who is showing his Buckeye stuff.
Oh, boy.
It's
Might as well show off
25
my stuff too. So while we're at it, Jordan, you'll like this one.
Oh, boy. Let's see it.
Here, I'll bring my.
All right, that's pretty dope. That's pretty dope. I got one better for you. I got one better than a cool picture.
Got me a guitar.
Yeah,
Holy
reach
crap, that stomach.
Yeah, you like that? How about
I got one better than that, Jojo.
A game ball from this is a game ball from the national championship.
Okay,
Okay.
well, I have a jersey signed by everybody from the national championship.
Kevin Harvick car.
I think
It's
I went up.
Stop making
Here.
fun of the belly, all right? I've been in the gym. I ran 6 miles every day, 4 days.
Hey, what is that? What is that, Jojo? What is that?
What? This?
Little chunk in the trunk.
You like this?
Hang on. Oh yeah, hang on.
No.
How do I make this bigger? Oh, there we go. It's better, kind of. Now turn my camera around. There we go. No, come on, fat fingers. There we go.
Oh, man, you got the.
great.
Let's see.
Playoff
Hey,
team
so don't worry
winner.
when we get the national championship next year. I'll be sure to get Marvin's autograph while I'm at Ohio State.
Yeah,
Oh,
man. Oh, sorry about
Hey,
that.
Braxton Miller,
Sorry about that.
Don't be living down at Ohio State for 3 years. Might as well enjoy it.
Dante Wilson.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. I have a
Where's Joey?
lot
Joey
of Dale
Boats.
Earnhardt stuff over there. Dale Earnhardt Jr.
You got Joey B.
Yeah, he's on here.
Oh man.
I'm trying to decide if he's on the back or the front, though. Michael Thomas is on there. Ezekiel Elliott's on there.
Got
Well, I ain't got
Dale
anything to
Sr.
bounce any of that out, so I ain't got too many autographs. I got
This
the only autograph I maintain is
is this
Reliant
entire
A.
team.
That's it.
I got
Where's Zeke? Where's Zeke at?
Dale
That's what I'm
Earnhardt
looking
Jr.
for. It's a little blurry.
Hey,
Like,
Dale.
it's a little dark in my room. Let me go to the basement. I'll take it with me.
Well, I mean, we already in the middle of this thing. What are you traveling around for? You got food on the bed?
Yeah, I got food on the
Dang,
go.
dude. Nice
I
tablet.
was not as prepared as everybody else.
Nice feet.
Man, where's your underwear pile?
Underwear pile.
Yeah, I gotta make sure it isn't summertime.
I have
That's
shirts.
a little messy.
Go on commando.
Ignore the
I-
picture frame in the back because it's broken.
Yeah.
It was one random day I heard something fall in my room. I was like, "What the heck was that?" And it was my picture frame. It's a
Nice.
bear picture frame. Hey, Rowan.
What's up?
Oh,
I
he got
was not as
Grogu.
prepared as everybody else.
Yeah, he wins. He wins. Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
I had a collection of this. All of them fell. So, yeah,
I'm bringing Toe Mater with me.
I don't know if you
Yeah.
see what kind of bullet it is.
I cannot.
It's a
I-
6.5 Creedmoor.
So I went ahead. So for Christmas, one of my presents was a case for that jersey, and I gotta put it in there.
Yeah. I bought the
I
new
need
Marvin
to-
Harrison. The Marvin Harrison red jersey, and then I bought the Ohio State Marvin Harrison T-shirt jersey,
Hey.
which is actually pretty dope because it looks just like a jersey, but it's a T-shirt, which is way more comfortable, and can wear it kind of anywhere, not look stupid.
I bought my Chris Olave jersey.
We ain't posting this whole thing while we just BSing, are we?
Well, might as well right now.
Hold on.
Rowan, you good? Or
Delete
you
it.
good?
Delete it.
Oh, it's all going in.
Oh man.
There we go.
Just a day.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know who this is Rowan. Well, you guys know who Rowan is. Some doo-doo head. Below me is Jordan Steinman, is Rowan's uncle. He was a good friend of mine, too. Rowan and I grew up together, and he was part of my childhood.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little
A
bit.
few years.
Yeah. So how's everything going?
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah.
I'm scrambling around like a chicken with my head cut off because these two fools decided, oh, let's make a podcast.
Well, I didn't know it took any prep, but you're down there in the basement. Like you
Yeah.
got to build the whole house. You got
We're
to
just-
you got to build the fire too.
Well,
We just go straight. We just go.
my little
Right.
area is a little bit taken over by a coda because he thinks my desk is his.
I didn't know you needed a desk.
Me either.
That is my gaming desk.
I got my comfy recliner,
That's where I'm at.
laptop ready to roll.
I have my desk too, but it's all crammed up with stuff.
Yeah.
Papers for guests who are coming on, or just having a long list around if you're busy. If you're not busy, we have a bunch of them. It's just. Is it comfortable?
Yes, very.
I hope so, because that was a lot of work to get that bad boy over there.
Yep. All right.
Let's ask. Let's start off. I'll start off with a question, and I think it's a pretty good one. So, I want to talk about your time. Let's talk about your podcast, Jordan.
Yeah, so my podcast called Forgiven. It's I spent a lot of time in the military doing master resilience training. It's a requirement by the Army that every 6 months at a minimum, soldiers get a formal training, on everything, to include, mental health, mental resilience. And it's targeted after performance-based, not just personal, but performance, whether that's physical fitness, getting out and doing PT, how to get the best out of yourself. It's also a really good tool just to learn how to deal with, life issues, obstacles, and things like that that might, prohibit somebody from, being at their best. And so the podcast right now, we're kind of transitioning from season 1, which was pretty much just all mental health and resilience. We're trying to start getting into the other stuff of normal life things like just like this, getting to talk about football and things like that. But it'll still always revolve around that mental health and resilience and faith-based resilience to tie in, really what life is all about.
Ron, you got any questions for him?
Nope. I have actually been on that podcast and I've been listening.
Watched
It
it.
was, it was our second most viewed podcast, but it received the most views or listens out of all the podcasts in the shortest amount of time. It was a pretty good one, and that's really what the podcast is all about. We're trying to get people to engage, and it's not. I think a lot of podcasts really are there to entertain, whereas my podcast, I want it more there as a tool for people that are struggling with things, whether it's mental health or just they just don't feel very resilient, to have something to kind of confide in. It's kind of like that person that you can go to and talk to, hearing somebody else talk about the same things you may be going through, um, or the same situations or life circumstances that you've gone through, knowing that somebody else has gone through it and kind of hearing how they've gone through it. That was one unique thing about when Rowan came on. He and my sister, they had lost somebody very close to them, my sister's fiance, and that is a huge part of their life. And so to have, a conversation like that, it wasn't a super deep conversation, but it was just there as a tool to like, hey, somebody else has gone through this. Here are some of the things that they experienced, they felt, how they overcame it, and with that understanding of it takes time, that it's not going to be something that is instant, but that you've got to work on and different tools. And so I think that was a reason people gravitated to that episode more than some of the other ones. As you know, that's something everybody deals with. So it's definitely been good. Still trying to get some more followers and stuff like that to kind of take it in the right direction.
Trying to figure out what's going on here. Every time I go full screen, and I don't touch my mouse, my camera freaks out. Hold on, I'm gonna try to figure this thing out real quick, guys.
So I've got a question for y'all. Since we're doing this anyways, and this has been a huge part of my podcast, of like trying to really develop a common theme of what people want to hear. Now I'm going to put y'all on the spot, all right? Because I'm on your podcast now, but now I'm going to put y'all on the spot because y'all still haven't given me feedback about my podcast.
Okay.
So now's y'all's turn. Give me some feedback. What y'all think it could use? What would be more? What's good with it? What's bad with it?
I honestly think I have nothing bad to say about it. I think it's all good.
More consistent.
Yeah, I think it's all good. I have nothing bad to say about it. It's all good. That's my feedback. I don't have nothing bad to say about it. It's all good.
What do you got, Rowie?
As far as that podcast get, like Brandon and us, I need to be more consistent with it.
Slacking. He's slacking.
I'm sorry. I just have
kind of like he is in Call of Duty Zombies, but it's fine.
We'll
talk about that.
We had Rob Patterson on. You couldn't make it because his car was burning oil, which is okay.
My car had
the
no
end
oil.
of the podcast. He comes in.
Nice.
I can't. What do you want me to do? You want me to just drive my car and explode?
Hey, it's hard because I kind of made the commitment when I started mine. I was going to do at least one a week. I made that commitment to myself right out the gate, and then, man, like the first 2 weeks, it was pretty consistent, and then it was like after that, I was finding myself trying to like double back and make 2 podcasts in a week, or then I had surgery and stuff like that, so that really threw a loop in. Went a couple weeks without one. It's hard to be consistent with it. I think the thing for me that makes it to like a more of a priority for me is when I do get more followers and it's like it's just part of Penn. It's like their psychology school. They're the ones that actually create the course for the Army and are contracted for it. So got to give them the credit for the program they've taught in the military. But I feel like it's just one of those things where once I see that number on the podcast, at least on Spotify. When I see that number kind of dip down, kind of gets me involved. Like, I need to do another podcast. I need to kind of push this a little bit more. But no, I get it. Life happens, things happen, and it definitely creates a little bit of a disconnect of being able to be consistent.
So, we'll switch to when you. How long has it been? What year is this for you in the Army?
Almost 16.
16.
April will be 16 years.
Wow. So.
Yeah, blows by.
Yeah, it does.
Rowan was like 5 or 6
when you joined. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember when you graduated.
Which means you were 5 or 6, Brandon. So don't forget that.
If he was 5, it would be 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now y'all can feel old right along with me.
No, because you joined in the summer. We were still both 5.
It doesn't matter. I was still in the same age range. You still feel old. So.
Yeah. Yeah. What was the journey been like for you?
It's been good. It's been an emotional 15, 16 years. A lot of different things have happened. Life changes, moving around. That's always hard. I joined off a whim. I had a landscaping job for a little while, and then I actually went and worked with my dad for about 6-8 months, where he worked up in Worcester, Ohio. I actually was a temp at that job, and so, I kind of was like, that was kind of like a make or break deal. I'd had a couple temp jobs up in Worcester, Ohio area, and just nothing was sticking. Like, I was working hard, but somebody was outperforming me, and so somebody else got picked to stay at the company, and I would just get put back in the temp pool. And that was kind of when I made my mind up. We used to go riding. It's actually kind of funny because we used to go bike riding with my buddy Ryan, which Rowan knows pretty well. Brandon, you played with him on Xbox before, but I was really good friends with him my whole life. And we used to go bike riding all the time down through Worcester, Ohio. We always took the same route from his parents' house down to downtown Worcester, and then we'd come back. We always passed the same recruiting office. And one day I was just like, you know what? Like, my grandpa served in World War II. He was drafted. He was an infantryman as well. And it was just like, you know what? If he could be drafted and serve with honor and dignity, because he was told to, then I believe, fervently that, that each generation owes that same responsibility at a volunteer. And so one day I just walked in. I was kind of tired of the temp life of, switching job to job. And so I walked in, and I committed. I told my recruiter, hey, whatever's the fastest way to get me in, get me something consistent. I chose the Army Reserves at first as a carpenter masonry specialist. And I did that for 3 years. And I absolutely hated the work environment. Like, I worked, my unit was up in Mansfield, Ohio. And I was just so motivated to be good at my job and to get to do my job that it just drove me nuts, because I showed up at a reserve center and I didn't do anything. I showed up, we swept the floors, cleaned the bathrooms, and then the day was over. And so there wasn't a whole lot for me. And so my, I don't remember exactly the timeline for it, but my grandpa passed away the tail end of, it was 2009, 2010.
Was it 2010?
2010.
Because and, about a year.
Yep. Okay, that's right. And yeah, man, when he passed away, it just kind of sent kind of like a motivational spike into my life of like, what am I doing? I strive to, I wanted to make him proud. I wanted to, be like him. And so that's kind of when I, decided to, I guess you could say, pick up the torch. I re-enlisted for active duty as a Special Forces candidate, actually. Went to airborne school after I reclassed to infantry. And then I met my wife, actually, while I was at airborne school. decided,
Seattle?
hey, no, in Columbus, Georgia. And
oh yeah, that's why you're
yeah.
stationed in Seattle.
Well, no, I wasn't based in Seattle. I was at Fort Benning
Oh.
still.
Oh, okay.
I had just come back off of leave, went down to Columbus, Georgia to go back to airborne school and wait to go to selection. And while I was there, met my wife. Literally the first week I was at airborne school, we dated the whole 3 weeks, like every day after class. I would go hang out with her. And there was just a really good connection, so it lasted. I ended up graduating airborne school 2012. And then from there, the rest is history. But the in-betweens, going to Afghanistan. I was stationed out of Fort Lewis. We went to Afghanistan, came back. Had a pretty uneventful deployment. There were a couple hairy circumstances and stuff like that that you could kind of expect out of an infantry unit going.
Yeah.
Came back, went to Fort Carson, was there for 2.5, 3 years. Went to Fort Stewart from there. I was only there for about a year, and then everybody told me, hey, look, to advance your career, you need to go volunteer for something else. So I went and did drill sergeant out at Fort Jackson for 4 years. I was there, 3 years as a drill, and then 1 year as a range cadre instructor. Now I'm back down to Fort Stewart, finished my platoon sergeant time. So it's been a long road. It doesn't seem like it's been a long road. You look at the stack of years and you're like 16. Like sometimes I'm really good at a lot of things as far as the Army goes. But one thing I'm really, really bad about is updating our dress uniforms that we have to wear. Like, it's something we don't wear a whole lot. And so it really hits me when I put it on for, special occasions and stuff like that. And I'll look down. We have service stripes we have to wear on our sleeve. And I'll look and I'll be like, oh, crap. Like, I'm missing 2 service stripes because I haven't updated this thing in 6 years. So that's kind of when it hits, because it just blows by. I think the thing that's made it blow by is, everybody says do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. There's long days, there's tough days, there's emotional days, but I genuinely enjoy what I do. I enjoy leading other people, teaching them what I've learned, whether it's the hard way or the easy way, and making sure that the defenders of our country get a chance to learn from somebody that came before them and did the same things, that understands what they've done. So it's been a long road, but it's been fun. It's been filled with a lot of stuff. It's been cool too, because like Rowan's got the opportunity to come to a couple of the different duty stations that I've been, and that gives them a chance to travel, an excuse to travel, I would say. Get to go on a cool vacation. Yeah. Then it also causes them to become Seattle Seahawks fans, which ruins family ties a little bit during the football season.
Right.
But luckily, we're in different conferences and divisions, so we're pretty good. But I would say, I'm not going to try to keep talking, but I think the last thing I would say about the past 16 years is it has 100% changed my life. It's given me a course and a direction that I don't think I would have ever had staying on the civilian side. It gave me a purpose. It gave me a passion for a lot of different things. It gave me opportunities I would have never had, doing anything else.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So I want to switch it up. Let's talk about football, man. Let's talk about sports.
Yeah.
Let's talk about.
Yeah.
So
Go
Rowan's
Buckeyes. Michigan sucks.
Buckeyes, yeah, they won the national
It's all right, they don't get to
championship,
keep
but
the natty anyway.
but
They don't get to keep that.
yeah, but
Poor Brandon, he's being overrun on his own podcast.
yeah, what the hell, slacker over here.
Yeah.
They don't get to keep the national championship. It's all right.
Rowan, is your Seahawks in the playoffs?
Shut up.
Is
Are
your
the Colts
Colts in the playoffs?
No, because
Hey,
the
look.
Texans are.
I didn't say nothing about the Colts.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I'm sorry.
I did not tell you
think
this,
that's
Jordan.
The hardest position to compete for.
I do have a
alright?
Colts jersey.
Yeah. You do. Wow.
Shaquille Leonard, Darius Leonard.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
He's no longer on the Colts anymore, but
I have my OG Peyton Manning jersey from 2007, the year that they won the Super Bowl.
that was so
If
long
I could get
ago.
on my mom's laptop, there's pictures of me rooting for the Colts while they were in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
He
I was
had
wearing
blue
the
dye.
blue.
He had blue dye in his hair. They gelled his hair with it was like blue gel. And yeah, it was actually my 18th birthday party was tied to the Super Bowl because my birthday is February 14th.
Mom rushed me to the basement. It was fourth quarter. Put horseshoes on my cheeks, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they sure did. So
They
next
sure
time
did.
they playoffs,
That was the last time they went to the Super Bowl.
So
No,
when
negative.
the
They
Colts
went to,
make it to the playoffs,
they went
I gotta have horseshoes on my cheeks the entire playoffs.
Yeah, you know what's crazy is that
yeah, probably either that or paint your hair blue. One of the two.
I always said this that Rowan, shut up. It's so crazy that I'm looking back. I'm like, how much football has changed over the years. Like Rowan and we grew up to like kind of to where when Peyton Manning started. Like my all-time favorite was Ben Roethlisberger, because I'm a Steelers guy. All the guys from Ben Roethlisberger to Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Ray Lewis, all those like old school guys to the 2000s to when they retired.
You missed a big name in there. A few.
Yeah.
All right, we know what it
Andrew Luck.
The good area.
Andrew Luck.
The good era. Yeah.
Yeah, the good area where you can actually hit people.
You know, but I think every generation goes through that. You know, because you look prior to those guys, and you had monsters and Joe Montana, Troy
Reggie
Aikman,
White.
Lawrence
Yeah,
Taylor.
Reggie White, Emmett Smith, Lawrence Taylor, Barry Sanders. And I think we're at that point where, you know, I think that's the cool thing about football. You know, having been around for 3 decades of football, you know, I remember growing up and watching my grandpa watch the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know why. He was not a guy that had like a collection of anything football.
Yeah.
He liked to watch football. But man, he never rooted for one team, but he would root for the players. I think that was, you know, for a while I never understood. Excuse me. For a while I never really understood that, like why people, you know, didn't have a team. You know, because like especially growing up in Ohio, you know, you have 2 teams, Cincinnati and the Browns.
Yeah.
You know, he was never like a hey go Browns or go Cincinnati. He watched all the games and enjoyed all of them. And I think, you know, for the first part of my life, I was the opposite. Like I was all Colts. Still am all Colts. I love the Colts, and I'll root for them until the day I die. They're my team. But you know, like as you get older, I think you start to appreciate more of the level of what a player provides to a team versus what a team provides to you. Because at least for me, like, you know, other than college football, I'll always be all Buckeyes. 100%. And they're always my favorite. But when it comes to pro ball, you know, I'm a diehard Colts fan. I have a tattoo of them. I have all the, you know, jerseys and different stuff like that. But I think what I appreciate the most now is just watching good players get out there and ball out. You know, you see guys like one of the guys that's really, you know, recently, and it's weird because, you know, I'm from Ohio. I'm not a Browns fan. They were gone when I started liking football. So, you know, fortunately, the Colts had just drafted Peyton Manning and kind of went through a rough spurt themselves. So I got on that bandwagon, and I've stayed on it ever since. But, you know, I think it's cool seeing guys like Joe Flacco come back to, you know, have a successful career in Baltimore, you know, have a couple years where they really weren't doing anything, sitting on the couch. And the next thing you know, he's in Cleveland, balling out and killing it, getting his team into the playoffs. I think that's what I appreciate more, and I now kind of understand, you know, why my grandpa sat there and watched every game and rooted for a certain person or player. I think that's the great thing about football is you can be a fan of a team, and as long as they aren't playing your team, you know, you don't have a horse in the race anyway, so you're just like, hey, I'm going to watch this dude, you know, ball out. You look at guys, I think I think one of my favorite players right now that's doing something like that would have to be Matthew Stafford. A guy with a great story. Going to Detroit, killing it for years, and
Mm-hmm.
just they couldn't get there. They always fell short. But his grit and determination. I remember. I don't. I don't think it was a. I think it was a Thanksgiving game where he messed up his shoulder. He got drilled by
Oh,
one
against
of
the
the
Browns.
Yeah.
and was it the Browns? Okay,
It was the Browns.
I don't remember. I remember. I don't remember who he played. I can just still see the hit in my
He
head from all the
dislocated his
plays.
shoulder and drove down
Yeah.
the field and scored a touchdown.
Yeah, he's still,
Ridiculous.
yeah, missed one play, came back on the field, threw a touchdown pass.
Won the game.
Like the grit and determination, and then for him to leave and go to Los Angeles, I think I appreciate stuff like that, just like Peyton Manning did. Got injured, had the neck injury. Colts didn't want him anymore, and he still had a lot to give to the game and the fans, and I think that's what I enjoy most. But I think every generation, to answer or kind of talk about what you did, Brandon, like I think every generation goes through that player shift of, who is this guy, and then we watch him grow up in front of our eyes, little by little, and it's different because like for you guys, even for me a little bit, like watching a guy like Ray Lewis, when we watched him play in front of our eyes, and grow up, and then all of a sudden he was retiring. It's like, man, football will never be the same. But then you got guys coming in behind him, like I would even put like DeForest Buckner. What's the I can't remember the Detroit Lions. Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan.
Hey, Hutch.
Like guys like that, like they're coming in and they're doing the exact same thing. They have the same level of intensity and motivation, and the same level of impact on a game. It's weird for people who grew up in a time span where football was kind of like this set thing of where we had the same players, and now we're seeing that first shift of where the next generation of football players is coming in. Because when Peyton Manning retired, I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't know what to do with football, other than college ball, because college ball, it obviously shifts every couple of years anyways.
And I joked to people forever about when Peyton Manning left, and then
Yeah.
then Russ
And it
leaves
was
Seattle,
hard.
and I'm like, what do I do? We don't have a quarterback.
Right.
Like, and then Geno steps up,
Hard.
plays great ball.
He did
And
pretty good.
Brandon has the same story, because I know he's a Pittsburgh fan. You go from how long did Ben play? 17 years?
18 seasons with the Steelers.
18 seasons. That's almost your full
He was
young adult
tough.
life. I remember his first year. Like I was old enough. I don't know how old I was. Probably about 16, 15, something in there when he got drafted from Miami of Ohio. And his first season. I'm pretty sure they made the playoffs his first season, right? Rookie season.
I think so,
And
yeah.
then they won the Super Bowl the next.
Yeah, and like, seeing somebody like that come in and just be able to do what he did. I hate the Steelers, always will, just because I'm from Ohio. Brandon's our oddity in the group, but
Yeah, he's the oddball.
seeing somebody like that come in and just ball out for as long as he did. Same thing, you have to have a level of respect. Like I grew up hating Tom Brady because I was a Colts fan. Every year it seemed like Tom Brady took us out of the playoffs, took us out of the number one seed, whatever it was.
Deflate-gate.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All of us.
But I think it's a cool story to see guys like that do what they did. But it's definitely new now because you got 4 quarterbacks in the last couple of years.
Now we got CJ Stroud's balling
I'll be
out.
right back. I gotta grab some.
Okay, I have to go. I have to fix this real quick. I think I have to leave the chat real quick, and I can join back up.
I wish I could move this light over or put it like right above.
Yeah.
Did you watch the national championship game last night?
I was at work.
I was at school, so I didn't get to see it either. I was hoping to catch at least the.
I was really hoping that Washington was actually give a football game. All right, we're good. I just fixed it. No, I did not. It's not working. The heck, dude.
So to talk about football, if you don't mind, I know it's your podcast and I'm not trying to run it, but I do
Do
have some questions
you
for
do
y'all.
what you want?
Well, I don't want to be like that, but
No, you
I
can
do
ask
have some questions.
questions.
You're the guest.
So when I look at the playoff bracket, the thing that is curious to me, Ravens are obviously sitting at the number 1 seed, and this is just AFC side. When I look at the AFC side, I see 3 other teams stronger than the number 1 seed, at least in my mind, and how they played and opponents they played. Um, can the Ravens keep the number 1 seed and get out of that first round or second round? I'm sorry.
So for me, the AFC side is really good, but also really bad. I mean, it's a hit or miss for me. The Chiefs, I don't think are even going to get past the first round. I'm going to be quite honest with you. They've just not been anything.
Patrick Mahomes has definitely got some problems going on.
I think there's some team chemistry problems in the locker room, and I think it's falling apart slowly. The Ravens, though, even though I can say the same, I think that there are 2 or 3 other teams that are solid enough to take them out. They've also shown that they have been able to take out some of the teams that were, Super Bowl contenders from day one. Like the 49ers, they slaughtered the Niners, and the Niners arguably have the
That was
best.
That was an early game.
No, that was like end of the season. That was week 13.
I thought it was like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm
And
trying to
then they
think
did it to Miami the week after. So back-to-back
Right.
weeks.
Right, but Miami's proven the last couple games that they're struggling.
Yeah.
But the thing I see on the AFC side, other than, and I'm not, like I said, Browns are my second team. If I had to rate where teams would place, and that's just because I'm from Ohio, and like I said, the Browns were gone when I started liking football, so I'll put them second just out of respect for I'm from Ohio. I think the thing that I see when I look at the AFC side is I see, you got a team like Pittsburgh coming in. Can they upset Bills? I honestly, genuinely think they can. You got a guy like Mason. I just think, statistically, no. But knowing how the playoffs have gone the last, 30, 40 years, you've always got to expect the upset. A team that's, wins 9, 10 games can be just as good as a team that wins. Look at the New England Patriots. We're undefeated all the way up until the Super Bowl, and then lost to the New York Giants. I think that year they only won 9 or 8 games.
Was that the helmet catch?
Yeah, that's it. Both of them were helmet catches. Both of them were crazy catches. But I think when you look at, the 3 teams that stand out to me when I look at that AFC side is, and unfortunately, one of them's going to get knocked out right out the gate because it's the Browns and the Texans. You look at both those teams, they've got 2 quarterbacks that are firmly sound in quarterback play, both throw for 300 yards a game, aren't really bugged by a blitz or a good defense, and I think that'll be interesting to see. Really, for me, I think it'll be interesting to see how C.J. Stroud gets through that game, especially because for Joe Flacco, a playoff game's nothing. Statistically, he's been at his best during the playoffs, anyways. But how does C.J. Stroud respond to that environment? First-time playoff, first-year rookie. I think the Dolphins will cruise by the Chiefs, no problem. But the one that I'm interested to see, other than the Browns-Texans, is that Steelers-Bills game, because I think Mason Rudolph, watching him the first couple years, he was good, but he struggled. I think they've got the pieces in place where they can compete with, especially Josh Allen. He's been so inconsistent lately. Example the other night, they won the game, but look at some of the passes he threw during that first quarter.
He did not.
You do that against the Steelers defense, you're not winning a game. And they're good enough, at 10-7. they've struggled throughout the year. And like I said, I'm not a Steelers fan, but I think they have a strong chance to upset the Bills, especially with Mason Rudolph in there. He's determined. I think he wants that starting job back, and I think he knows the only way to keep it for next season
Is by winning.
is to win that game. So I think it'll be interesting. But I think, me personally, I think the Ravens get upset first game. I don't see them making it out of round 2. They got the bye, so they'll make it to round 2 minimum. But I honestly think that looking at the kind of how things go, the only thing is if and again, Brandon, you're not going to like me for saying this. The only way Ravens make it out of round 1 for them or round 2 is if the Steelers win. If the Steelers win, obviously Ravens play them, and I think that I think that'll be a tough contested game, but I think Ravens win that game. But if the Steelers lose and Dolphins win, I think the Ravens go down. I think I think the Dolphins have got a little bit more offensively than the Ravens do.
I agree with that statement for the Dolphins, other than the fact that their defense at the end of the year has fallen apart with injuries.
Right, and I agree with that. But the reason I say I think if the Dolphins win, Steelers lose, and the Dolphins have to play the Ravens. The reason I say that is because the Dolphins play against a mobile quarterback that is just as deadly on the move. So they're going to know, and they're going to have plays in their pocket to understand what Lamar is going to do. And I think they're going to play that card. I think they're going to
Who better than Mike?
I think they're going to be willing to give up the deep ball to play the quarterback run because they know Lamar can do it.
And who better than that head coach at Miami, dude? I love that guy. I do.
Yeah.
He's
I'm
young.
not a big fan of him. I think he's a little young and arrogant and cocky, and I don't like that about people. Like, I genuinely, I don't know why, I've always just had that disdain for people that kind of act like arrogant and cocky. Like, I like people, like, I'll be honest, the head coach that has impressed me the most since he's been out of, just talking playoff teams, would honestly, other than Andy Reid's, a milestone to the NFL, and really stands out as a great, he's one of the best coaches of our lifetime, if not the best. But I would say, the Niners have a solid coach. He's very humble. I think he's done a great job with, guys, you look at like Brock Purdy, the last guy to get drafted. And for him to have confidence in him, I don't like seeing. I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal thing. It's not saying Dolphins coach isn't a great coach. Just his demeanor, his candor, the way he holds himself, it just rubs me the wrong way and makes me not like the Dolphins. It ruins the entire vibe of the team for me, based on how coach reacts.
If we're going to talk about coach changing up a team, let's talk about Dan Campbell with the Lions. This is a whole different Lions.
Same boat. Very, I like him too. Yeah, and I think I like.
16 team.
I think I like the most out of the coaches that are in the playoffs. I think he's the most relatable as far as ownership of a team. Like he is in it. Like talking about just I don't remember his comments during one of the press conferences a couple weeks ago, but just hearing it kind of got me invigorated. Like I'm not a Detroit fan at all, but I was like, damn, all right, go out here and beat them up, like punch them in the face, kick them while they're down, like. I think that's what you want in a coach, somebody who buys in and is just as, even though they physically aren't on the field, like mentally, they're out there telling you, beat the crap out of them and win this game. And so he's done a great job. I don't know. That's going to be an interesting game altogether. I don't know who's going to make it out of round 1 for them, just because you got Matt Stafford on the other side who, he's going to want to beat his old team. He's going to want to prove something like, hey, you shouldn't let me walk out of there because we could have been.
And Jared Goff, too. He's facing his old team as well.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Stafford won it out, and Goff got the short end of the stick.
Yeah. No, I
So
agree.
Goff had
The other one you got to think
prove.
about. The other one that's got something when you talk about quarterbacks, something to prove. You got Baker Mayfield down there with the Buccaneers. He's got something to prove, and
He's
the
proven a
Eagles
lot.
haven't looked that good. Yeah, like the Eagles haven't looked that good. So I see
Eagles
them.
just lost A.J. Brown because they were too stupid to bench him.
Yep.
And
So,
Russell.
yeah, I don't know.
Russell got
It's
benched.
it's going to be
Yeah,
an
Russ got
interesting.
benched for Denver, but they're not in the playoffs.
Yeah.
No, but they're
Yeah, I see Baker taking them to uh, at least round one victory. I don't know about any further than that, but yeah, like you said, he's proven a lot this year that he's
That's
not
what
just
Browns fans said about him in Cleveland. He wouldn't get past the first round. He made it all the way to the what?
yeah, only quarterback in Browns recent history to take him to the playoffs and win. So
yeah.
They should have
it's
been
gonna
in the
be.
Super Bowl.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah.
Not that year.
I would say
that was the year they had
I'll
a
tell you
bad
right
call.
now, the Browns right now have a great team. When Baker took them, they had a good team. I honestly, my picks for AFC, at least in the championship, right now, I don't know, man. I just got a feeling it's going to end up being, either the Dolphins and the Browns for the AFC championship, or the Browns and the Ravens. It's going to go one of those two ways, at least in my mind. I see there's no other way out of that, just based on where everybody's ranked and who they have to play. I think that the most likely is going to be the AFC North has two competitors in the AFC Championship. NFC side, man, like I look at that and I'm like, I don't know. Because you've got teams, if we're talking underdogs and we talk upsets and stuff like that. I like the 49ers above everybody else in the NFC. And like I said, I like their coach. I like Christian McCaffrey, outstanding running back, probably one of the best that we'll ever see. But like the Cowboys, I don't think the Cowboys can get it done. I think the Lions are going to fall short. And then when you look at the other four teams that are still available, Packers, Rams, Eagles, Buccaneers. I think when you get a guy like Christian McCaffrey, you know what you have, and I think they run the table all the way through. I think NFC is pretty clear cut who's going to the Super Bowl.
So
could be wrong. I'll be proven wrong here in a couple weeks.
I think the Lions have the most.
The Lions?
Yep.
The Lions?
I think the Lions are gonna make the Super Bowl.
Right.
That's my bold prediction for the year. I always make one.
So here's the thing, though.
They got a rough road.
Here's the NFL playoff picture. Here's the wild card for NFC is Green Bay and Cowboys, which Cowboys is going to win that anyways.
Nope, Green Bay.
No, Cowboys.
Jordan Love saying that because Coco will kill you if you don't say that.
Cowboys are going to win.
I hate the Packers.
But if Cowboys win it, 49ers are going to beat the Cowboys. Rams and Lions, which Lions going to win.
Lions are going to win that.
Eagles, Buccaneers, I would say Buccaneers.
Bucks.
And then
Eagles have been garbage all year long. I mean, look how.
Not all year long. Just that last 6 games. That last 6 games killed them. You go into the playoffs.
They were
you want to be strong.
And then
I know. I know, and that's what I'm saying. Is like you look at teams, at least from what I've always seen in football, the teams that stand the strongest at the end of the regular season end up doing well and make it to the Super Bowl. Like you look at the last couple years, like that last 5-6 games of the regular season defines your season. The first half of the football season doesn't matter, and unfortunately, the Eagles' best part of their season was the first part of the season. Same thing with the Cowboys. Their best football was those first 8 weeks, 9 weeks.
Yeah,
they were really making a name. You could even say that about the Ravens, because fortunately enough for the Ravens, the last like 8 weeks of football, I don't think they were playing their best football.
No.
You know, even statistically, I know everybody's, you know, and I actually pulled it up because it drives me nuts. So you got the MVP race. So I'm going to switch topics on you here, Brandon.
All right. Well, Ravens are first in the divisional for AFC.
Right. You know, but you remember, statistics don't always win you a Super Bowl.
No,
either.
doesn't.
Because you look at the Indianapolis Colts have the #1 offense in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
With Peyton Manning behind you, and they still didn't make it past the first round. But the thing that, you know, I keep hearing the conversation that like the two highest rated people for MVP right now, Brock Purdy, Lamar Jackson.
Do you think C.J. Stroud should be in it?
I have a problem with that. C.J. Stroud should 100% be in that, and it's not just because I'm an Ohio State fan.
He's
and I'm low key.
And he was injured for
like 2 weeks. But
what is going on with
I
him
just
back
think
then?
when I look at, I don't know, you got fireworks and stuff going on.
Brandon, what did you do?
What?
I just think when you look at MVP race, right, most valuable player, that's most valuable player to your team and to the league, and what they've done and provided. I think C.J. Stroud has to be in that top 2 conversation because look at the turnaround. The Texans went from, you know, having Deshaun Watson, being a playoff competitor, to, you know, the whole, you know, trade with the Browns, get rid of him, really aren't looking like they're going in any direction but down. And then here they are, 10-7 in the playoffs, first year with a rookie quarterback. You know, I don't remember his exact stats, but like the dude threw for almost 300 yards in every game he played, you know, other than the first couple games where he was learning the game. And so I think when you look at, you got like a Brock Purdy, you know, he's in the kind of the same boat. It's only his second year.
Yeah.
But like Lamar Jackson, he's had years you know, he's performed like this for years and hasn't won the MVP. So you expect him.
So 2023.
But what I'm saying is he performs like this every year. Like the stats aren't really that much different than what he previously did. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm talking MVP, I want to see either somebody come out and have a strong performance at the very beginning of their career, or like do something that they've never done before for an MVP, versus somebody like, if you look at like Peyton Manning, every single time he won the MVP, he only won it by outdoing what he had done in previous years. Yeah. He won 5 MVPs, and all 5 times he set the NFL record in, you know, passing yards or touchdowns, or, you know, had the highest rated offense. It was, you know, or, you know, the year that he threw 3 receivers over 1,000 yards. You know, that's what I look at. When I look at C.J. Stroud, I see like all the boxes for me are checked. Like, this dude's a rookie.
Yeah.
Brand new to the NFL. Came out and balled out.
I have
C.J. Stroud's playing right now is like Madden on pro level kind of game. Like, he's playing the best football.
He sees the game really well. Yeah,
he sees
the game really well. He should have. And you look at a guy like Bryce Young, and you got to feel bad for him a little bit because he's not a bad quarterback. He got thrown in a bad circumstance. The Carolina Panthers already sucked, you know, whereas the Texans really didn't suck. They had been building up since the early 90s, trying to, you know, just like the Browns. They have been trying to put the pieces together. You know, like when I look at 2 teams that are at a complete disadvantage in the NFL, I think of the Browns and the Texans, because the Jaguars came in at the same time, and around the same time, and they had a way better opportunity. You look, they had like Byron Leftwich. You know, they had a lot of really good players come in. Yep, they had a lot of really good drafted players, or players that signed with them. And then you look at the Browns; they're kind of in the same boat. They had a lot of really good players, like Jeff Garcia. Deshaun Watson's the most recent. They had a lot of really good players come to Cleveland and want to try to help them win a championship. But you look at the Texans; they never got all that. You know what I mean? Like, they're their talent and the way that team is playing is a lot of just recruiting and drafting behind the scenes to finally get them to this point. I think this is what the only I I want to say it's only the second or third time they've made the playoffs in their franchise history, and so you got to put MVP conversation on C.J. Stroud for getting that
Yes.
team what they've been through the last couple of years. He's definitely the most valuable player to that organization, and I would say to the NFL, just because of what he's been able to do year one.
I have a stats for
I got the air horn.
offensive leaders, like offensive leaders right now on the regular season 2023 right now. Tua is the leader for yards, for passing yards. 4,624. Purdy is fifth. It's crazy.
Tua's not even in the conversation.
You said McCaffrey. McCaffrey is the rushing leader right now.
Yeah.
1,459. Derrick Henry is second.
Right.
Receiving is Tyreek Hill with 1,799 yards. And CD Lamb and CD Lamb second, but AJ Brown's fifth.
Yep.
Rowan, you'll love this. Can you guess who is defensive leaders for tackles?
For defense tackles, the leader is Myles Garrett. God,
No, it's not.
who is it?
Bobby Wagner.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Oh,
183.
Bobby.
Bro,
wagon
Bobby
train.
Wagner-
183.
How this season has kind of sucked for him. How is he? Are you serious?
Can you
That's
guess who's a
kinda
sack
possible.
leader right now?
I've been spoiled with Bobby Wagner for 10 years. At least 10 years.
You guys will probably know who is a sack
So-
leader right now.
This is probably his worst season
I don't know.
that
I
I've
haven't
watched.
TJ Watt has 19 sacks.
PJ Watt. There you go.
Interceptions, D. Bland for Dallas Cowboys.
Myles Garrett's winning the Defensive Player of the Year award, so
Sure.
he's in the lead with that. Micah Parsons is second. PJ Watt's third.
So we're going to look at teams, offensive leaders. Miami Dolphins,
Gotta be Tyreek.
yeah, 401 yards, 401.3 yards. 49ers are second. Lions are third. Fourth is Bills. Fifth is Cowboys. And then looking at it again, for passing, Miami Dolphins, Detroit Lions, Cowboys, 49ers, Vikings. Oh, this is a surprise. Rushing, Baltimore Ravens, which is not surprising. Chicago Bears, the second.
Justin Fields.
49ers, Cardinals, Lions. Defense.
Oh, James
And so,
Conner.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to take, because one thing I've learned. I've been a huge fantasy football guy for as long as I can remember. Actually, Rowan remembers Paige and Kim and
Yep.
Kevin. So we all kind of grew up with them around, especially because Paige and Kevin had their daughter, Kim and Kevin had Paige, and so Rowan grew up with Paige. They were about the same age, and
And they played
her
for
dad
you, man.
got Rowan's dad and myself into fantasy football, and so we used to play a lot. So I like looking at stats and stuff like that, and this goes back to that MVP conversation. You look at a guy like C.J. Stroud, not trying to take away from guys like Tua, Brock Purdy, McCaffrey, stuff like that. But when I think of MVP, I think about not only how you perform yourself, but how you elevate people around you. I think that's the true testament of what makes you the most valuable player is not only what you do individually, but what you do for the people around you. And nobody speaks louder to that than C.J. Stroud. When you look at the stats, which you guys were just talking about, the stat leaders, I'm looking at them right now. There is not one player, unless you go all the way down, we're talking top fives, unless you go all the way down to interceptions. There is a Houston player in a leading category, which I think speaks testaments to C.J. Stroud, only because he's not only elevating himself, right? He didn't have the most passing yards, the most touchdowns, or anything like that. He got his team to the playoffs first year as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
He elevated everybody around him equally. You know what I mean? Like, like you got guys like
Great
Tua.
leader.
You got guys like Tua. Okay, cool. He has Tyreek Hill. Okay, that's expected. Tyreek Hill did the same thing in Kansas City. You look at guys like Brock Purdy.
Mm-hmm.
He has Ayuk. He has Kittle. He has McCaffrey now. That's all expected of them. So there's really no change. Yep, there's like no change to anything. But you look at a guy like C.J. Stroud. He
brought in another rookie receiver.
Yeah, he has no-name people around him, and he's still just as effective.
Nico Collins. I never even heard of Nico Collins, other than from
the dude out here balling out. Like I watched the game the other night. I'm a Colts fan, so I watched the game the other night when we got eliminated from the playoffs.
Hey,
I watched it.
You guys were this close to winning that game.
Yeah, we was that close. We was that close. At our backup running back, can't catch a ball.
That ball, it's over.
That's the one thing I think about. Like I said, and I'm going back to an old argument. You look at a guy like Peyton Manning.
His first year in the league, he set the record for most interceptions in a season.
Yeah. No, not so much that, but like look at every single time that he won MVP.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like
every single time it was who he elevated. You know what I mean? Like other than the 1 year where he had 3 receivers get 1,000 yards, what did his team do? It was a team effort. He elevated his team. And they never, other than the 1 year, and he might have won I think he won the MVP the year they won the Super Bowl. But other than the year they won the Super Bowl, the years he won MVP, he never won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And
on!
I think that speaks to C.J. Stroud. They have a really good shot at upsetting some teams in the playoffs. They're good. He's strong. He can throw the ball pretty much anywhere. And when I look at out of the people that are playing ball right now, I really think C.J. Stroud is the most deserving with the team that he had. I think he turned an entire franchise around versus, Tua, Purdy, McCaffrey. They all went to, especially Purdy and McCaffrey. They went to a team that was already a playoff team.
Yeah.
But so they added to that team middle of the season for like nothing.
Yeah. Uh-oh,
Thanks to the crickets.
I'm not hearing crickets.
Good talk, guys. Good.
Nice.
Yeah. We just got off topic here. I forgot what I was going to ask. Every time I don't touch my mouse, like, it goes like crazy. Everyone's like going crazy. So I'm like playing with the mouse. This is going to drive me nuts with everything on the bottom here. You're not.
You got Patrick on your desk there, Rowan? Looks like Patrick's Starfish.
Yeah, it is.
You got me there.
I knew it.
You gave me this.
Oh, well, I didn't know I gave it to you.
You gave it to me for my 16th or 17th birthday when I got my car keys.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that sounds
Positive potato.
And it was supposed to go on my car, and then I couldn't get it to stay, so I put it on my desk instead. So he sits here and chills. But I like to pick him up. He's kind of squishy.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, so I'm ready to change a little bit of a topic. We're gonna go back. We're gonna stay football, but the draft. I'm ready for that. I already got.
I don't like talking about this. I'm always wrong.
The Bears have the #1 pick, but the Bears fans do not want Fields to leave. And Caleb Williams is the favorite to go 1. What do the Bears?
He's going to go 1. He's going to go 1.
No.
I think if the Bears are smart, they keep 1 and just take Marv.
I don't think Marv goes 1.
No.
Marv's good. Marv's
he's
good.
Not going to be there at 3.
If you look at the Bears' needs, I think they're, everybody's pointing at Justin Fields as the problem. They got problems all over that team. And it's not just Justin Fields. And Justin Fields has proven, especially over the last 8 weeks, he can ball out with the rest of them. He can be a consistent passer. He needs more time in the pocket. He needs receivers that can catch the ball and get
Have you seen
downfield.
video of Bears fans chanting lately?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like nobody wants him to leave, and I think at least
He's
as
a
far
great
as fans,
quarterback, just needs some
yeah,
help.
yeah. I think the thing that happens though, just because of the environment of the Bears, and you got to also think about it from an executive level. The Bears are looking for an answer right now, and that's why they traded up for that spot with Carolina. I see them taking a quarterback number one, and I see Fields getting traded off to somebody else to get more draft picks.
I don't
I
see
think
that.
Marv goes number two to Washington, which wouldn't be a horrible
The Commanders?
setup for him. Yeah, I don't think it'd be a horrible
I
setup
think
for
the
him.
Commanders are going to take a quarterback. I think they're going to take Drake May.
I don't think they take him that high.
And if they
I
don't
think
take
if you're
Drake
going to do,
I don't
I
think
think if you're going to do
21.
something, I think if Washington's going to do something like that, that because New England's in the same boat. They need a quarterback. Mac Jones is obviously not the answer.
No.
Right.
But I think what ends up happening is Chicago's in a good spot to tell the Commanders and the Patriots, hey, we got Justin Fields. We'll trade him to you. Give us your pick. And so that way they're still sitting at 2 or 3, and then they take, another quarterback that's further back, or fill another need, get a draft pick that's later in the draft because they can get somebody. But I think when you talk like Drake May and stuff like that, those guys are later in the draft. They're not a top 10 pick, and they've already been projected to be lower than that. I don't see Marvin, just because I'm an Ohio State fan and we got to talk about Marv. Okay. I don't see Marv as much as I hate it for him. Personally, I think a team like Atlanta or Tennessee or even the Chargers trade up and try to take him. Marv would be a great pick for Los Angeles just because they already have a good quarterback. They have a decent offense. I see them being willing to trade a lot away. But unfortunately, just in front of them is another team that, I don't know how I feel about Kyler Murray, but I think they're going to stick with him.
I think Kyler Murray, when he's
I
healthy,
honestly,
is a baller.
yeah. But if Los Angeles doesn't trade up for Marv, then Arizona takes him at 4.
Yeah.
But I think those top three teams are playing the quarterback game, especially New England. Like Commanders are, but I don't think Belichick stays unless he gets a quarterback in the top 5.
Right. My personal opinion is the Bears trade away their number 1 pick, because you got to think there's 2 really good O tackles in this draft.
I don't think. I don't think they stay at 1. There's no way they stay at 1 if they're looking for anything other than a quarterback.
This is the year for the Bears to get help for Justin Fields.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they stay at 1 by any means. It's just what will they get? You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I start to question. You got New England sitting at 3 and Washington sitting at 2. Then becomes the if they know what the Bears are looking for, which is I think why they played up the Justin Fields conversation, is to make Washington and New England think they're going after a quarterback, get that hype up, and then be willing to trade that pick away. Does a lot for the other 2 teams, and then that way Chicago can trade down but get more out of the draft to fill more spots because, like I said, they need an offensive line. They need at least one more receiver. And they're sitting in a perfect spot because if they trade away, let's say they trade away to like New England at 3, you still got all the offensive tackles to choose from, and you most likely still have Marvin sitting out there. So then at that point, well, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do at that point? So I think the most beneficial, when I look at the top 5, sorry to interrupt, but before I forget, out of the top 5 picks in the draft, I think the best team sitting is New England, only because they have the most to gain. because, like I said, the Bears, I think, know they have a quarterback, and they're looking for something outside the top five, at least what will go in the top five. Washington, I think they know the same thing. I think they know they have a quarterback, and that they need help somewhere else. So they either go Marv or they trade down. But New England, they've got the most to gain out of this whole situation because they need a quarterback, they need receivers, they need a lot. And I think that Bill Belichick, especially with how the year went, will be looking to come back next year with a team that can compete. I see them making some moves to get that number 1 or number 2 spot.
So this person right here, Chris Traspo.
Your name's Traspo. I don't know if I can trust you. It sounds like trespass.
Trapasso, I think is how it's pronounced.
Trapassa. Got it. Okay. I'm listening. You got my curiosity.
He has the Bears trading with the Giants, and they have two first rounders. They're going to give up the 1 for the 2 first rounders, so the Giants are going to get 1 and go with Caleb Williams. 2 is Drake May. 3 is Jaden Daniels to the Patriots. So Washington in this one does take Drake May.
Here we go.
I just don't
Marvin
know.
Marvin goes to the Cardinals, and then at 5 is the Bears, and they take Joe Alt.
Joe Alt?
Yeah, at 5. And then at 10, they take Malik Neighbors from LSU.
So this is outside the top 5, but random question for y'all. Where do you think Amika goes?
I think he falls to the 2nd. And that's if he doesn't come back, because he still hasn't announced.
But neither is Marv.
Yes, but
what happens if, here's the other thing, what if Marv doesn't declare for the draft? That screws the whole draft
all up, yeah. No, there will be.
Do you think that Cade will go to the draft or not?
No,
Who?
he's already said no. Cade Stover. He already said no.
Right.
He's going to be a farmer.
And his brother's coming in too.
Is it? I know his cousin Garrett Stover is a safety.
Yeah, cousin. No, he's not a safety. He's defense. He's not a safety. He's like a linebacker or something.
Garrett Stover is a strong safety coming out of high school. Yeah. Pretty sure they have him as a safety. And if not, they switched him to a linebacker.
Yeah, safety. My bad. I thought it was. I thought he was like
the linebacker.
Yeah, no, inside linebacker. Inside linebacker.
I was about to say they could probably move him inside.
No, yeah, they haven't. He's an inside linebacker.
How long till they move until the tight end position like Kate did?
I don't know if they'll do that. I don't know. So they got according to CBS, right? They got Caleb Williams going to Washington. So I see that 100%. I see, like I said, either New England trades up to try to take Caleb Williams or Marvin right out the gate, or the Washington trade happens. They take Caleb Williams. And if Marvin declares for the draft, there's nothing better than putting Marvin back there with Justin Fields. I think that helps Justin Fields a lot. It's just like Kyle McCord under pressure. Marvin's a great, I think the people that watch games only see Marvin as like a great deep threat because that's typically what you see. But what you miss about even his dad, senior, they're both exceptionally great at the inside slot receiver, slant routes, getting across the middle, digging in, getting the ball, and making moves after the play. And that's the one thing. Like I grew up as a Colts fan, prime time. Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, and when I watch Marvin Harrison Sr.'s son play the game, it is like watching him all over again. It really is. It's exciting to see him get the ball, and even on plays where he doesn't get a deep ball, doesn't get a touchdown, just the way he plays is there were a couple games where, at least for Ohio State, I don't think he was completely invested in winning the game. It looked more like he was just out there. especially against like Michigan. He wasn't fighting to the ball on some of those. It was more like he was worried about getting hit, getting racked out on the field. Um, and I don't know, that could be smart football, being smart. It's your body, do what you're going to do with it. Um, but I just like the style of play, but I really uh, don't see New England taking another chance on Drake May. I don't see them taking a chance on it. Mac Jones is not a bad quarterback by any means. Just New England, you look at what he did the first year he was with New England. He wasn't a bad quarterback. They didn't have the pieces this year, so I don't know. I don't know. Obviously Bill Belichick is super quiet about what he's going to do with his team.
Yeah.
This is uncharted territory for him too because they had Tom Brady for so long. Um, I just don't see them taking another quarterback. I think they're going to allow. And again, I could be wrong again, uh, but I don't see him taking a chance on Drake May when they got other areas they know they need. Whereas, Mac Jones can play ball. You wouldn't have allowed him to start all year if he didn't. Uh, I just think he needs help. So I really feel they're in a great spot to move up um, and try to take Marvin off the board or somebody else. Uh, I don't see Amika going second round. I really don't. I think he goes first round outside the top 15.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Amika Egbuka.
I think he's returning to Ohio State. He's got one more year eligibility, and I think he knows if he stays, he has a better chance of next year being a first round pick. I don't think he is.
But I think he already is. Like before,
you got a lot of
before
really
Marvin
receivers in this class.
Right, but you look at before Marvin Harrison had the Rose Bowl performance. Who did they play? I'm trying to think.
Utah.
Was he? Yeah, Utah. Before he had that performance against Utah, Egbuka was the guy, hands down. Like it was Emeka Egbuka and I can't remember his name.
Jackson.
He went to the.
Jackson
No, before
Jigba has the big Rose Bowl game.
He had the big Rose Bowl game.
Stroud.
Like Egbuka was one of our top two receivers, even when Marvin was there the first year.
But the thing is, with Egbuka, he's a number two. He's always going to. I love him to death.
Right, I get that.
He'll always be a number two receiver. I don't think he's
right. But if you're talking going to a team that's already got an established number one wide receiver, who better to throw in there as a top first round pick?
I could see the Bills going after him, putting him in there.
Especially because you got teams again like the Chargers, who already have really good receivers throwing in. I don't think he goes that high, but I think he lands. I think he's a safe pick for Denver. Wouldn't be a bad spot for him. I think he'd fit in well there. You got the Raiders.
I think Buffalo. I think he'd fit really well with Buffalo. Allow Josh Allen a second option other than Diggs.
Yeah.
That would be if he goes in the first round. That's where I think he would go. Only because they're looking for a receiver, and it's very obvious because every one of these mock drafts they have the Buffalo Bills taking a receiver.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I think Egbuka. And I don't know. I saw something the other day. I didn't look into it. Probably could real fast, but I saw something where I think he's going to play in one of like the post bowl game, college games to like boost his draft stock.
Right.
So I think that points in the direction he's committed to going to the draft. So I don't know. I think we'll see, but you got guys like Malik Neighbors going right now. They're estimating the 10th pick, and then you got Rome. I don't know how to say his name, Dunes or whatever from Washington. You look at the performance some of those guys had all year. It's, I think Amika is a better fit. He's more of a all-around wide receiver.
He's going to be like a Jackson Smith and a Jigba in Seattle if he goes anywhere.
Yeah, and that's typically what Ohio State wide receivers are. Is other than you got the oddities like Michael Thomas,
Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson,
Olave,
Harry
Wilson.
McLaurin.
Those are deep ball guys just because they got the speed. But I think you got a guy like Amika who fits your slot, who fits your backfield, your check down passes, can get yards after the catch.
You put him on a freaking jet sweep and he'll get you like 30, 40 yards.
Yeah.
He's got some speed to him.
The interesting part, honestly, most interesting part about the draft will be, does Marvin go to Chicago? Because if he does, I think that signifies Justin Fields isn't the problem. One, and two, they're about to have a crazy year on offense because I can tell you right now,
Harrison's
seeing Marvin Harrison play, yeah, it's his ball all day, especially even
Hoda
against
would
good
hate
DBs.
that. Hoda is going to hate that.
I know, but I think that'd be a good fit for him, and I think that's the most comfortable fit for an organization to know that a quarterback and a wide receiver have played together before and been successful.
I don't think
that'll give Justin Fields a lot of confidence going into next year with a player he's played with before and been successful with. So I see that.
I don't think Fields and Harrison ever played together.
I don't think they did. I don't think they did, but I think, again, he worked with C.J. Stroud. He worked with guys like that. And so I think
the
that
Ohio
provides you a
State.
level
The Buckeye connection will be there.
Yeah, but like more so, it's that common connection that gives you confidence, right? Like if a player goes, they talk about it all the times where coaches come and players that didn't play for them are, show more confidence under somebody they saw, whether it was like somebody they knew or a team that they had played for, had like a similar system or play style. It gives them a level of confidence. So I think when you talk to Marvin Harrison, you get that with Justin Fields because it was the exact same passing system that Justin Fields played with at Ohio State that Marvin Harrison played in. It gives him that confidence in that receiver that he knows. I guarantee you, Marvin Harrison knows Justin Fields' play style, right? Because C.J. Stroud, for the most part, follows the same path. So you've got two similar quarterbacks that could do the same thing that Marvin Harrison can shine in. I think that gives Justin Fields a lot of confidence in the pocket.
Yeah. So I want to switch it up from sports to music. What music you been listening to?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Me or him?
Both of you.
Oh, to me. Oh, man. Well, I'll be honest with you. So I've gone through, this isn't to get off music topic, but I've been through a lot in the last like year. Some of it, even Rowan, it's kind of like the first time to really share it. So I've kind of changed a lot the last year as far as like what I've been listening to, what I'm putting into, my headspace and stuff like that. Just because I had a lot of health problems last year. Started off, I came back. My unit deployed to Germany in response to the NATO response for what was going on with Russia and Ukraine. So they rapidly deployed my unit to Germany as a first response in case Russia decided to, do anything with NATO. Came back from that. We were there for about 6 months. Came back, and I had been diagnosed with high blood pressure. Came back. I had to go to the ER 3 times within a matter of like 4 months. Having like rapid heartbeat, high heart rate, high blood pressure. You name it.
Have what is it? Hereditary.
It's hereditary. Blood, or not blood pressure, but like heart problems and stuff in the family. So it was a big time for me, just because like I have 2 kids and a wife that you start to think about some different things. So I actually started eliminating a lot of music that's contemporary or popular pop music, stuff like that. I've always firmly believed that whatever you put in is what you're gonna put out. Um, and so I stopped listening to like the radio and stuff like that as far as like pop music, rock, stuff like that. So I listened to a lot of more Christian rock, Christian music, like Newsboys. It's a little bit of a throwback. Many of y'all probably know who this is, but Barlow Girl, Reliant K, Switchfoot. Um, yeah, man, I've really tried to just try to get rid of some of the negative tones. I don't need
Mhm.
somebody to tell me to go and do drugs, to drink alcohol, like and that's another thing. Like I've had an alcohol problem all the way up until really recently. Especially while I was a drill sergeant, I was drinking a lot. It's something I shared on my podcast, where I was coming home every single night and drinking a 6 or a 12 pack. And the health problems really just helped me kind of find my faith. I'm still working on it, and by no means 100% there yet. But life's tricky. I look at my 20s, and I was doing nothing. If I had died in my 20s, I know where I would have gone. Right? I wasn't doing anything positive with my life other than like outwardly to like to you guys and stuff like that, or to family. Like I was doing a lot of good things, but inwards, looking back and seeing who I was and what I did, um, I wasn't living a good life, and so that's changed a lot the last year. Like I said, I'm still working on it, but I think the music and the movies and stuff like that you put in and into yourself is what you're going to put out. It's the attitude you're going to put out, the mindset, the things you're thinking about. And I grew up on Christian music, and then once I hit like 19, 20, I started listening to all the pop stuff. I started listening to everything and anything that was on the
Mhm.
radio, AC/DC, Metallica, stuff like that. And I enjoyed it. It's definitely good music. It sounds good. It's just really about the message. And so
Yeah.
I try to limit now what the message is. That it's more of a positive message, whether it's positive living, living for the right things, living for God. And so yeah, I've kind of switched back. Like I've done pretty good. I think since at least since the fall of last year. I haven't listened to, I guess, what you call any like contemporary style music, and it doesn't really bug me. I find that listening to music, especially like the Newsboys have been really good for me. If you guys haven't ever listened to them, definitely check them out.
I've listened to them.
Yeah, yeah. But for me, it's the message, man. It's like when
Big
you go
Daddy
through
Rude.
something like that, where you go through some health things that you don't know if you're going to live the
Mhm.
next couple months, um, and just a lot of uncertainty. It starts making you think about some things, but not only that, I think when I listen to contemporary music, I kind of am forced to like zone out. Like when I listen to a big song, for not really song, but like I guess group of songs for me growing up. I owe this to my brother because he loved rap for whatever reason, like as
Oh
white
my
as can
gosh, the
be,
rap
as
station
white
was
as can
there.
be, and we're listening to apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur. Like, okay, what's going on?
So random.
We grew up in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, as country as you can be for
Yeah.
Ohio, and he's listening to these rap songs like Lil Wayne, Kanye, all this different stuff. I wasn't a big rap fan, but I listened to it a lot because of my brother, and I always
Lil
heard it,
Jon.
and like Eminem and stuff like that. And I look at that, and it forced me when I made the change this last year.
Mhm.
It forced me to think about um, not only what was I putting in my head, but what were my kids listening to?
Right.
Like the swear words, calling people hoes, this, that, and the other. And it was like no human being wants their kid to talk like that, think
No.
like that. Uh, you know, what was I? putting into myself that I was living outwardly, right? Because music and movies and social, they all impact what makes a norm.
Yeah.
If people talk about it enough, it makes it a norm. And so for me, like that change was, well, and honestly, it was just it was almost like a 1 day switch. Um, one day I got in my truck and, I have Siri and stuff like that, and Apple Music. And I just was like, hey, Siri, play News Voice. And I started listening to it. And it was just, uh, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was just more uh, thought provoking. Like it really made me think about where I was at in my life, where my relationship with God was, um, what I had to live for.
Yeah.
And I think that was super powerful for me. Is like just just that music change made a difference in my life. Made me think more about my relationship with God. Made me think about my relationship with my family, and what I was putting around them, what I was building around them. Um, and a side topic to music, you know, in that I also found, and again, still working on it, is the place of a husband. Um, it's a hard road, man. Like I'm getting a little emotional talking about it, but it's a hard road because you're expected, to perform at work. You're expected to perform at home. You're expected to take care of your kids, and it's hard because sometimes you just want to sit back, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just want to take a break and not think about anything, and it's hard. Um, but yeah, man, like the music for me, uh, I've always liked music. Played music, was in a band for a while. Um, Music speaks to your soul, uh, and I think the right music speaks through your soul to God and allows you to communicate, even when you unintentionally are. And so now I find myself more, humming or singing those same songs that I've been listening to, in rejoicing of what God's given me, or what He's done in my life. So for me, the music makes the biggest impact. It really does. So it's something to think about. Like if you're listening to stuff that's secular, it sounds cool, it's great, but it's not where you're supposed to be living. And I think when you make that change, if you're willing to make that change, um, it makes all the difference.
Mm-hmm.
It closes that gap in that relationship with God, puts you in a place where at least you're thinking about Him, you're you're thanking Him, and you're changing your life in a way that's positive. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with music. So sorry for the
Nice.
long drawn out
Oh,
details, but
so very good. So, Rowan, what about you, man? I know that you and I were listening to music yesterday while we were hanging out.
Um, for the last, I want to say, three, yeah, five, three, yeah, 4 to 5 years, my music has mainly been country, especially Luke Combs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Luke Combs has the music he puts out just talks to me. Especially since Dave has passed. And I mean, right now that's kind of what I need. And I listen to all my Christian music still, like the Newsboys, mainly Big Daddy Weave. That's my go-to normally. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, I'm still in my early. I'm still in early 20s, especially in high school. I was listening to a lot of rap because I was playing sports and stuff, and
Yeah.
that's what you hear. And I mean, I'm trying to like slowly push that out and bring
Yeah.
in other stuff. Um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, country's my go-to. I mean,
My
it
dad.
talks about other things that I want to be involved with, and if you find the right country, you're on good pace.
Yeah.
But yeah, it like JoJo's telling us, it's definitely something to get rid of, like the rap and stuff. And the only reason I can't get rid of the rock and roll stuff is I use that as a way to remember Dave,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't listen to it's not really I'm listening to the words. I'm trying to put that in my head, even though it is. It just allows me to think of all the memories that we had when we would go on trips and stuff, and brings back some good memories, and it makes me happy. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
especially
No,
those rolling. Go ahead.
that's something that's still like something that's hard for me. Is um, there's songs that remind me of certain things, um, but I'm gonna give you an example of why it's not always positive. I'm not trying to take away. I'm not trying to say change what you listen to, necessarily. But when I was dating my Rowan, I don't know if you remember Brittany, but I had dated this girl named Brittany. We had gotten engaged for a little while, and a song that she and I had that was kind of like our song was a song by Keith Urban. I don't remember the name of the song. I remember the lyrics, but here nor there. Um, that song when I hear it now constantly brings me back to our relationship and stuff like that. And just kind of in my relationship with God in the last couple months, or really the last couple years when I've heard that song, um, it's kind of caused. It hasn't caused a divide with my wife and I now, because she doesn't know that song, um, nor have I ever shared that. But it's one of those things that now, when I hear that song, it's like I think about my ex fiance, right, and in a relationship with my wife, right.
yeah.
Something that causes you to think of or want that back or stuff like that can be wrong, right? Because it can cause you to think adulterous thoughts and stuff like that. And so for me, that's why music is so dangerous,
Mm-hmm.
or what you put into your head and into your body can be so dangerous, is because those things can make you feel certain emotions, right? Like I said, I used to listen to Metallica and AC/DC all the time, and a lot of those, even rap, especially rap. A lot of it is very aggressive. It's very negative. It's talking crap about people and stuff like that. And so for me, knowing what I believe and what I'm trying to live, it's contradictory. And
Yeah.
that, I'm not saying country is. I listened to a lot of country prior to, like I said, the last fall. I think you got most of your country listening from me because there's nobody else to claim it from.
Yeah, not really.
I loved country music for a long time, and there's a lot of good message in country music. You just got to be careful with it. I think is the biggest thing is if it starts giving you, and that's kind of what I've learned is like listening to other music that's about other things isn't wrong. It's just what does it cause you to feel like? What does it cause your emotions to be?
Mm-hmm.
um, because it can lead you in a wrong path. Like I remember back in the day, not too long ago, when I would feel pissed off about something at work, uh, or just angry at somebody, I would listen to a certain kind of music. Like that helped me get that, it kind of like it vibed with how I was feeling and what I was thinking.
Allows
So
you
I was like, I'm going to listen to that. And now I've kind of learned to change that, and listen to a different style of music that's teaching about God's love and that we should love everybody,
Yeah.
about forgiveness and stuff like that. And I think that it slowly changes your mindset on how you react to situations, and what your output is towards other people.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad says I look like a Luke Combs, but I'm skinnier.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. So how?
And you don't have the red
At
beard.
least, at least you're not Jelly Roll.
No, Jelly Roll. I like
You don't
Jelly
want
Roll.
that.
I love
Yeah,
Jelly
you don't
Roll.
want that.
I do
Yeah,
like
you don't want
Jelly
to look
Roll.
like that.
No.
That dude is a Jelly Roll.
I like his story. I think the most. Like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That story is great. I'm not so sure completely on his music. It sounds great, but
I listened to him when he started, before he was even country. His stuff was
when he's
pretty
rap,
bad. He was pretty bad. I gave up on
yeah.
that. But my way, so I'm everything because of my parents. My mom, so my older friends, like 40s or like, I did not point at you.
the way over.
But
Don't point at me.
my old friends go up to like 40 as like asked my friend Shay, she's in her 40s, she has a son and a daughter. I was like, what did you play on your radio when you had your kids? And she's like, I only play country because it tells a story. I don't want anything bad to get to my kids, like you said, Jordan. But for me, my music, mom's side, she played country music. My grandpa, all my mom's side was all country. I'm into Alan Jackson, all the oldies, because of my dad. I'm into Twisted Sister because of my mother. But I gave up on that. I don't like Twisted Sister. I just recently gave up on Ventura. I gave up on
Don't let him
Ventura.
lie to you, Judge. No, he's a Swiftie.
Yeah, I'm not a Swiftie. I hate Taylor
I
Swift.
think we all were at one point. I used to be.
When I was younger, when she was in country, she made good country music.
Country Swift, yeah.
Country Swift, yeah.
I can't do the new stuff. Too
But-
contemporary. I'm just tired of hearing you sing about relationships.
Honestly, it's all about.
I had my share of it. Okay, so I had
Yeah.
the exact same experience. I don't need to hear about it every time I turn the
Right.
radio on.
So the bands I'm still currently listening to, like,
Just turn on ESPN.
I'm into for country. I'm into Alan Jackson, Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, all the oldies. Some of the new ones like Chris Stapleton, because I kind of like the older vibes. But when I'm with my dad, when I was little, was like all he listened to was Leonard Skinner, CCR, and some blues and some bluegrass, because that's what he grew up on too. So I'm like, okay, so I'm learning. I'm getting all this from my father, which was awesome, and my mother. My mother was a little crazy, but
Aren't they all? Aren't they all?
I would say,
Rowan. My mom's nuts.
yeah, I found some old bands that my parents knew that they wouldn't even think I would find. Like, I founded Skid Row. I was like, how you found that band? I was like, 18 in Life came up and I liked it. Some of the stuff are bad, but I'm like, I kind of like this. I like the voice, but Guns N' Roses, I gave up on them. I'm not a big Guns N' Roses guy.
Oh my goodness.
I was Alice in Chains guy, and I gave up on them. I love Metallica. I love Metallica. Like, there's nothing wrong with loving Metallica.
Yeah.
You love your music. Go love your music. And some of my favorite Christian bands are Red, August Burns Red. Okay, that's one thing I got crap for. They're like, August Burns Red, and my buddies listen to it, some of my friends and some of the older people are like, this is bad stuff. I was like, yeah, but are you hearing what he's saying? You can't really hear what he's saying, but look up Icarus from August Burns Red. You will hear they're a Christian band.
Yeah, it's about the message. It's not about the sound. It's about
Yeah.
the message.
He was saying,
Yeah. I used to get a lot of crap with Reliant K from certain people because that was my favorite band growing up. I knew a lot of people from our church that we used to go to. They knew them. You know, they grew up 30 minutes from where our church was. They used to come to our youth stuff on Wednesday nights and stuff like that. And it was, you know, their sound wasn't always, you know, they were like kind of like a pop punk sound. And so people would assume that they were just like a pop punk band.
It's really
And
bad.
I would always be like, hey, like, you got to listen to the message. Like, even my parents didn't like that we liked them.
yeah,
And it was, you know, for me growing up, that message that they had really helped me, developed me. You know, and even like some of the stuff, like I said, like not everything's bad. You know, things fit your life,
yeah,
which I think is what makes music so incredible. Is it fits where you're at in life. It has a message. It's just where that message takes you. You know, because like I love Johnny Cash. I think he was an exceptional artist for his time. Changed music completely. But his message, you know, like you look at the progression of his message in his music, and it was pretty much always positive. It had a dark point, you know, and even country music. Like I like certain country music still. I'll still listen to it. The things I try to get away from is there was actually a song and I'm guilty of it. I listened to it over and over again, and I couldn't tell you who sang it. It's fairly recent, but it was a song. It was a female artist who sang this song about, she was basically having one night stands with this guy that was married, and she knew about it. But as long as it was just between the two of them, she was okay with it because she enjoyed the one night stands. Um, and that was kind of like for me what kind of hit as far as one of the things. It wasn't the
Mm-hmm.
only thing. Um, but that was kind of one of those things I thought about is okay, I'm telling myself through the music I listen to that one night stands are okay.
Mm-hmm.
Going to a hotel and meeting up with some random chick is perfectly fine when I'm married. That's what I'm telling myself through the music I'm listening to. And for me, that's what kind of hit the tone of like, okay, this isn't okay.
Yeah.
Even some of the stuff like Taylor Swift sings about, even her older stuff, I can relate to some of it because I've had breakups. I've had my ex fiance cheated on me, and so like that's why we didn't get married. Um, Different stuff like that. I've had those situations and circumstances happen.
Yeah.
Um, but I think even by reflecting back on some of those things with the music you listen to is what's dangerous, is because it puts you in a mindset um, where you're thinking negative thoughts or um, it's sometimes it's hard to explain what you feel when you listen to certain things, but those emotions are obviously the most dangerous thing because you act on emotions. And this is kind of going to like the resilience side, but everybody has thoughts, emotions, and reactions, right? Your thoughts dictate what your emotions are. Your emotions dictate what your actions are going to be. Um, and so, like an example, right? Say you walk out of it. I'll ask you first, Brandon. Right, middle of the night, you're in bed. All of a sudden, you gotta pee. You get out of bed as quick as you can because you're about to pee your pants, and you stub your toe on that door back there behind you.
Yeah.
What's your first thought?
Just to keep going.
Well, no, you
I've
just
done it so many
the big
times.
toe. You stubbed the big toe.
The big toe I stubbed so many times, but if let's say it just happened first time, which toe? Because my left one's been
The most painful one.
okay. The right one, okay. If the right one, then I'm just letting it all go. I'm just gonna.
You're letting it all go, right?
I'm just gonna pee my pants so I can just
Yeah,
go in pain.
bad words.
Yeah.
And start doing some things that aren't complementary to your lifestyle, right? And that's
I was
how
talking about the
everybody's
pee, like just sit there, just pee while I'm in pain, just like ah.
Yeah, right. But something out of character is what I'm trying to get at. It's something you wouldn't normally do.
My mom. Son of a
Okay,
bitch.
mom's not around.
Mom!
Mom's not around, right? Yeah, you're starting to say some bad things. You're starting to do some things. You might start hitting some things, and that's how we're all built, right? Is the things that happen to us dictate what our thoughts are, right? And like I said, they lead to your emotions and your reactions, and so that's why music is so dangerous because it plays straight into your thoughts, what you're thinking about, which dictate what your actions are through your emotions. And that's why it's so dangerous, especially like I can remember times when I was younger, especially in like my early 20s before I got married. If I was mad at somebody um, or whatever it was, like I was listening to some pretty dangerous stuff when I think about it. I was thinking some dangerous thoughts. Uh, Luckily, I never acted out on them, but that's why it's so dangerous. At least in my mind and what I know about mental health and resilience and stuff like that, is that all of that plays a huge role. Even movies can do the same thing. I'm not as careful with movies just because I'm a big sci-fi guy. I love like Marvel, Star Trek, Star Wars, all that stuff. I don't know. I just, even though I know none of it's real, it's still kind of cool to you know see and think about. But yeah, it's just one of those things you got to be careful with, man.
Yeah.
It's not always the easy road to, you know, carry what you believe and eliminate things that sound good, uh, or what other people may think of you and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, all that really relates to your mental health and where your relationship is with God, which is it's a hard road. It's not always easy. You know, like I think one of the hardest points when I look back on, you know, the first 10 years of my Army career, I look at my time with guys in my unit and stuff like that. I didn't really create a lot of relationships, uh, mostly because I wasn't willing to do some of the things they did,
Mm-hmm.
or you know, participate in, or I wasn't okay with. But there were points where I did fit in, still doing things that I shouldn't have done, but I still fit in because I was willing to do them. And that's that danger point, man. It's like
Yeah.
finding that hard line of where I'm going to stand on what I believe, and separate myself, no matter how much somebody else thinks of me negatively, or whatever. Uh, yeah, it's hard. It's a hard thing, but music, it's very powerful. I love music.
Yeah.
I actually just bought a violin so I can learn to play violin. So I'm
I just got a
excited about
guitar
that.
for Christmas.
I got the guitar. It's right here. And I got the
I got
violin
my guitar
underneath.
upstairs. I just tuned it a couple months ago. I was playing it for a while.
Right.
Poor Brandon. He's been drug all over the place today.
I did. You guys did great. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to do the honor of crossing Jordan's name out.
Oh man, I'm
And you're on a list?
Yeah, of guests.
Rowan, I beat
Dude.
you.
I wish my list came up. I wish my name.
All right, you want to hear? You want to see how many people are on the list, bro? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We just crossed out one.
When can I get crossed off?
You were already
No, you
on,
can't.
doo-doo head.
You can't be crossed off. You're a
Wait,
permanent
once I'm
party.
crossed off, I don't have to be back, right?
You're fired. So-
oh no, you've been fired.
So, we already did Jordan. We already did Rob. I did Josh Bull at Bill Harris Ford, just down the road from me. Callahan's Ford is no longer... It's Bill Harris now, by the way, Jordan. And then, yeah, we got a bunch of them. Well, at
Who
least
else is on that list?
one athlete. Like, I'm trying to get an athlete in here.
Oh, you don't want to leak that.
I'm trying to get another guy on here, Mario Register, who is a Christian guy at my uncle's church. I want a couple streamers and a couple YouTubers, and I have two bands on here. My buddy Jesse's band, Redivider, and my other friends is a local Ashland band,
Is he the hat guy?
Hard Hat Music.
Yeah, hard hat music.
Yep. Yeah. It finally happened. We got Jordan to come on.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was willing. Never heard it. So.
So, you want to tell them what your podcast name is again? I'll put it in the description.
Oh yeah. Podcast is Forgiven. It's on Spotify. It's spelled 4GBN. It's pretty easy to find. If you need the link, just message Brandon or myself.
Or me.
Or Rowan. Yeah. They all
If
have
you
it.
sort of ignore him.
Yeah, just ignore me.
So, for
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
for now on, we're going to do... For now on, at the end of every podcast, I ask for people for advice for other people. So I got two advice to ask you for other people, Jordan, because you do two things: advice for people to join the army and advice for people for podcasting.
So I would say advice for people in the Army. Bottom line up front, it's not for everybody. It is a different mentality. It's a different lifestyle. You give up a lot of freedom, i.e., you can't choose when you go on vacation. You can't choose where or how far you can go when you are allowed time off, for the most part. You get guaranteed pay. You get guaranteed job, as long as you can perform, stay in shape. But what I would say about it is it provides you with discipline. It provides you, as long as you're willing, it provides you with discipline. It's a lot of life lessons. It's hard work, but it's very rewarding. The first couple of years, if you do decide to do it, you're going to feel a little bit like an indentured. You're in indentured servitude because you're a private, and that's just the game it is. But as you prove yourself and work your way up, it's very rewarding. It's a fun job. You meet a lot of good people. You move around. You get opportunities, like I said before, that I never thought I would get growing up in small town Ohio. So it gets you out of your hometown. I think the biggest thing that it does for you is it forces you to grow up a little bit, mature.
Mm-hmm.
It forces you to deal with some circumstances you may never deal with. It forces you to deal with some things that you may never have thought you wanted to deal with, i.e., death, things like that. But I think that's what's great about the human spirit and what God's equipped us with is how to deal with those things, how to compartmentalize them, show care and love to others, even when the circumstances aren't set in your favor.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the Army's a really good option for a lot of people. My personal opinion, I think everybody should have to join, at least for a short period of time, because I think it instills a lot of things in you. But it's not for everybody. And if you do decide to do it, think about it. Know what you want to do. The biggest thing is don't join unless you know what you want to do in the Army. They have a lot of different jobs, MOSs and stuff like that. So know what you want to do. Know what you want to get out. And if you don't plan on doing it long term, know what you want to do when you get out. Go to school while you're in. College is free. Knock it out while you're in if you do decide to join. As far as podcasts, I'm still pretty new to it. But what I would say is, come with a message that you initially think people want to hear, and try to broadcast it that way. But be willing to change, modify, and talk about things that are uncomfortable, because that's typically what most people secretly want to hear, is stuff that they can't talk to somebody else about. At least for my podcast, the way I think of it is it's like a hidden discussion between me and you, that I'm trying to talk to you about some, emotions or feelings or things that are happening in your life that are beneath the surface that nobody else knows about. And so it's, it's kind of like a private conversation, just to help somebody get through a hard time, or some things that they don't know how to, deal with at the time.
Yeah. I'm going to take a photo of us. There we go. So thank you, Jordan, for joining Rowan and I. Rowan finally showed up. It's good talking to you. It's good seeing you finally. It's been,
appreciate having me on.
Yep, it's been since Dave's funeral was the last time I saw you. But yeah, enjoy your day. Enjoy your time off. And Rowan, have a good day at school.
Gonna get on some games for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be on a little bit. Just gotta get myself dressed and ready for the day.
Yeah, man, the flannel pants are looking good. Just keep them.
Hey, I'm doing the Zoom dress.
Yeah, I'm wearing pajamas right now.
I know. I saw the flannels at the beginning.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm not wearing a shirt under my sweatshirt. That's sick.
There you go. That's the way.
Well, the
Got
beginning
good hair.
just going to show how bad it was.
All right.